Welcome back to Automating IngramSpark. In this video, we're going to create and configure an IngramSpark integration and view the automatically imported titles and some of their attributes. So let's get started. When you look at any one of these options, you can see the current status. You can click to read the documentation, or you can click to take an action, such as create now. When we click that, we're brought to the integration screen. Let's click Create Integration. Now we're brought into a new window, Create New Integration, where we can select the integration type and give it a name. So let's choose Ingram Content Group from this list and name our integration IngramSpark Connection and click the blue check arrow. Now we're brought into some IngramSpark configurations. Here we can choose the service levels, the shipping services for a couple different countries, and whether we have built-in delays or not. For the printing service level, you can see that it can be either economy or rush service. Let's choose economy. For the US shipping service, we can choose basic, standard ground, commercial second day, residential second day, commercial next day, and residential next day. These are all options that show up in your IngramSpark. If one of these options doesn't appear, say we choose basic, but the size of the shipment requires that it's a better or more expensive shipping plan, it will be the next cheapest. We can also leave any one of these empty and it will choose the cheapest. For built-in delays, we can choose to have an order go out later than it comes in. So say we get an order, we can choose to have it go out 1 minute, 1 hour, 3 hours, 8 hours, or a day later, so that it only releases to IngramSpark after you have a chance to review it. Let's choose 3 hours. For books that have pre-releases, you can set the pre-release date on the product, and this is a way to choose either to send the order to IngramSpark on the listed date or to choose options before the listed date if you choose to. Let's leave it as listed date and click Next. On this screen, we're asked to enter the IngramSpark credentials we have. We're asked for the username, password, and a password confirmation. Once we've entered this, let's click Next. I've entered the credentials off screen. The credentials are stored securely and are only used to place orders. You can see it says building image, there's a check, building email endpoint, there's a check, and gathering products from Ingram, successfully queued. So let's take a look at that queuing now. Click Next. And you can just click check if you're not doing royalty report ingestion. And there's our IngramSpark integration. If we go back to the tutorial steps, we can see that our first step is completed. But there's a warning and it says failed. So it says first go here to check what happened, then go back to integrations. Essentially it's telling us I got my password wrong. Let's go and check the progress email I just got. Whenever I complete a setup step, I get an email. There will also be periodic updates to this. At any time, you can click Open Setup or read the documentation or read down through all the steps. Back in the setup steps, let's click Go here. We're brought into the Workflows view, which is an administrative view of all the different actions that have been taken. So you can see here, gather titles with Ingram. There's information, it says incorrect credentials. So let's go solve that problem. Let's go back to integrations. Let's click Edit Integration. Click Next. And I'll enter my username and password again. Anytime you make a change to your IngramSpark integration, it will automatically queue to regather titles. But you can also do that manually if on the IngramSpark side you add another title by clicking Regather Titles. Going back to our tutorial dashboard again, you can see that now that I fixed the password, it says completed next to wait for your titles to import automatically. So let's go take a look at the different products that got imported. In the product section, under management, we can see I now have one product that imported from my IngramSpark. This is of course an example. Let's click into it. On the product page, we can see the title, the cover, the variant configuration, which right now is just format, which could be EPUB, paperback, hardcover, etc. Let's click into variants to see all of our variants. For this product, there's just one and it's perfect bound. Let's click Edit. In the variant editor, we can see the cover, the format, the daemon reference code, the distribution release date. If you set this to a date in the future, your books will only release on this date. In the ID setup, we can see that there's one ISBN with an identifier. If we go into attributes, we can see the ISBN is repeated here. This is important, and I'll discuss this in a second. And the IngramSpark ID, which right now is set to 89. This ID is the ID of our integration. This ISBN is the ISBN 13 with all of the dashes removed. It's important that the dashes are removed and match this format, since this is what IngramSpark accepts. This ISBN in the Attributes tab is what actually chooses the product in IngramSpark. So if there's an ISBN set as an attribute, that means that when this order is added to a cart, it will go to IngramSpark. In the ID setup, this ISBN with this same identifier is used to look up this item from a cart. So if information comes from your store marking this ISBN as one of the items, this is how it gets added to the cart. So that's the difference between the ID setup ISBN and the attributes ISBN. There are, of course, inventory setup and royalty setup sections, but we'll skip that for now. What's important to know is that automatically the system adds your IngramSpark ID, ISBN, and ID ISBN. You can also use the daemon reference code as your SKU. And you can see the format. It's daemon, colon, and then the two numbers. Importantly, for the ISBN, you have to do it the same way when you're adding a SKU. You have to do ISBN, then add a colon, then add this number. If your SKUs don't match up with either the daemon reference code or the ISBN, it won't be added to your cart correctly. So make sure to do that. This means you have to update the SKUs in your store. There's another tutorial step later. That's it for this video. In the next one, we'll look at adding a storefront.